want to welcome you to World Gospel Impact Church. You are watching us live on your Facebook, on your Instagram, and on your WhatsApp, and on your YouTube. I actually want to greet you in whatever time zone that you might be in, because we understand that this show is watched all over the world. So if it's evening to you, I want to say good evening. If it is morning to you, I want to say good morning and say sit back and relax. And we are just about to share with you some information that is going to impact your life or assist you to help other people. My name is Nompumelelo Myeni, and the setting that we are in World Gospel Impact Church under the leadership of Ubaba Nomama Undamane. And today I am with a wonderful panel that we are going to discuss with you a subject that is actually closest to my heart as well, which is taboo communities. And what is it that we are talking about when we're talking about taboo? It is important that we define taboo in a sense that taboo is a prohibiting or a restricting measure that or religion or societal belief that might exist within the societies that we live in or the communities that we live in that may restrict us from going or being ourselves or going out there to be the best that we can be. But before I finish the entire discussion by myself, I want to introduce my panel and allow them to introduce themselves and actually share just a little bit as to what is it that this topic means to them. Let me start on my far right and say, sir, please introduce yourself.
Ngibingelele ababukeli emakhaya. Thank you for the opportunity, Mrs. Myeni, to be a part of your panel. Well, this topic also is closest to my heart because, you know, there are many things that happen in our communities and there are laws. Also, Taboo also includes laws, unofficial laws that are set by certain people who are unknown. And we find that they are entrenched in people's minds. And only even those laws exclude and ostracize particular people unfairly, you know. So So I as a leader, as a pastor, I should be able to look into these issues, deal with them, you know, scripturally and also through the wisdom that the Lord has given me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sanibonani emakhaya, igama lami nguGlenn Matthew Sisbongo. I belong to World Gospel Impact Church. Today's topic about taboo communities. What has led to such communities is lack of communication. We're going to break it down as we go along. God, I just want to stick with it. It is lack of communication. Asikhulumi njengesizwe esimnyama, unlike ezinye izizwe, about some certain topics or certain cultures. Sigcine ingane sezikwenza ngokutshontsha, and then we see these communities. So we are here ngenxa yokuthi there is lack of communication. Hence, we find ourselves getting into taboo communities.
And to my left, I have a beautiful lady.
Hi everyone, Gunoli Zimbobo. I'm pleased to be here, and it's really what can I say? I feel very honored to be invited by Mfundisi Ndamane to be part of this panel. The reason this topic means something to me, it is because I deal with a lot of people on a daily basis, and I have learned that things have been redefined. Some people have never even been introduced to the real definitions of certain phenomena. So the redefinition has created some level of culture, which is naturally not the original way of doing things. It's a new way, but because there's no one to restore the real definition, the original definition. So this has been a burden to me, that who will restore the definition of things? Because now we are growing new trends, we are growing new cultures in which people think or assume they are how things are supposed to be. They actually don't understand that this is a redefined. Then who will educate the communities? Who will tell the story of what the real or the originality of the thing is? So that is the reason this topic is very important to me.
I am getting very important, very what can I say, powerful introduction remarks from my panel, but I want to just clarify this. We're not naming some communities taboo in a sense of stigmatizing them, but we are saying taboo in a sense of the word taboo, the definition of the word taboo. But I want to start by asking a question here to my panel to say, how do I know that I am in a community that is suffering from a kind of a taboo or societal belief that is actually restricting or prohibiting any kind of growth or any kind of expansion from a place that I am at?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, there are cases where you find in a certain community, there are certain behaviors that are on a larger scale or on a global scale, they are defined as abnormal behaviors. But in those certain communities, they have adopted and made them their normal.
Okay.
So what if something has become a normal, but it limits your growth and it limits your ability to reach your highest point of performance and success and abilities, that means there is a broken link in that behavior. So that, in other words, it becomes something that is according to that community, a culture or something that has been accepted and adopted, but on a bigger scale, what is it called? Because the definition internally and the definition externally, if they clash, there is some broken link that needs to be restored, because there is one principle in everything. The principles are the same, whether spiritual or social or even economical. In terms, when you want to achieve certain things, there are certain principles you need to follow. There is a standard way. You need a certain discipline. If you are adopting behaviors and activities that for you to achieve them, you need to break principles, you need to be away, and they limit your fullness, they limit your actualization. There is something wrong about that. So that means you have created a subculture that will, at the end of the day, might harm the succession of the next generation in that specific community.
All right, Mfundisi, I wanna ask you, because we move, especially as churches, we move from one century into another in existence as a church, and then we find ourselves that the people that come in and out of church are different. It comes from different kinds of generations. How do we ensure, or how are we able to identify that this particular individual comes from this kind of taboo community, and this is how we are to assist them to ensure that they can identify with the broader spectrum of things that my colleague here was talking about?
Basically, it goes back to our way of evangelizing, because originally the church is not called to call people into it. It is called to go out to the people. So when we go out to the people, we don't go there to inject them ourselves. We go there to first gather data about them. It's like when Paul came to the Athens. He did not just, okay, let me just pitch a tent and start preaching there. He started understanding the community, and then he addressed the issues that were really there. I think we as the church, kufanele sibe nalomqondo ukuthi, masihamba sendaweni ethile, kufanele ukuthi understand different people and understand their situations before we try and minister to them. According to Charles Spurgeon, Maeti, people don't care about how much you know. They care about whether you care. Do you care? So ngicabanga ukuthi evangelistic view yethu should be, let's start hearing them, their struggles, where they are. Before then we can bring the gospel to them. I'm not saying the gospel should be preached based on their situations, but I mean, if we come with the mind, you're good, okay, let's understand them first, where they are. Then we'll be able to deal with issues, because once then we start evangelizing and they come in, basically we will have a basis of dealing with different people in their different contexts, because sometimes I find that we find a struggle as pastors ukuthi sishumayela one message kubo bonke abantu, but the fruits that we get is not the same, because we have not well researched as to the context of people. As we are speaking about ama taboos, thola ukuthi abanye they come from the community that limits them. Uphila elokishini la kuthiwa khona when you succeed uzenza ngcono.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So when we come as a church, then we have to bring the gospel at the same time, try and make you understand ukuthi you are important. You know, you can succeed even apart from the community ophila kuyona.
Yes.
Ma'am, can I just change the game a little bit?
Okay.
Can I just pose a challenge? When I started, I said it is lack of communication. That's why, hence, we find ourselves in such communities as young people.
Yes.
Now you are parents, pastors, leaders in whatever spheres that you are in. Now we have come and spoken about ideologies. Now the real problem is where now the church has to bear the burden that the family has or had to resolve. Because you come to church, you are not a complete individual. You come with your family values and from a structure. The minute you get into church, it becomes your haven or safe haven rather, and then you want to come find shelter. But if parents at home, because I believe sitting right here, you don't have pulpits at home. You are mothers and fathers.
Definitely.
To kids, you are aunts. You don't have a pulpit when you get home. You don't preach, but you teach and you love, you embrace. Now that the problem lies at home, we cannot speak about such things to you simply because it is taboo. Hence, let me take it personally. It's even taboo to even speak about now. Growing up, I hated trucks. I had no love for trucks. But the minute my next door neighbor, who was a female, comes in with a baby doll, something in me would just sparkle and light up. And you parents wouldn't communicate to Gucci. Guys do not play with such toys. They play with trucks and begin to teach me how to ride a bike. I'm 31. I've never gotten a chance from a dad to ride a bike because I was told that's wrong to play with such things, and then it would be it wouldn't be communicated. So now, because you do not want to speak to me, but you wanna shout, you wanna yell in anger as parents. So then that's why now we speak amongst our friends and say, you know what, my friends would say, no, but it's okay. And then we build such things. But hence, I'm saying, if we communicated to the kids before now, we get the church to say we need to embrace them, we need to love them. Parents should have done that at home. Now we are glad, now ibandla selithwala umthwalo ongaphezu kwalo. Fanele understand mina ngisuka lapha nomunye usuka ngale, and ibandla nalo futhi selithwele ngoba alisenzi lokho elidalela ukuthi likwenze, alisayi kubantu abantu abeza kulona.
You're bringing a different aspect of this discussion, because it's not just taboo in terms of acts, it is also taboo in terms of conversations.
Yeah.
So when we say that, perhaps if we can just go into sexual conversations, and we say the conversations that we're having in the families, because you brought in the family structure now into it, in the families, are we speaking about sex in a manner that is actually allowing us to understand our sexuality, or that is the confusion that is out there about sexuality actually being born out of the things that are happening right now, or out of the conversations that are not happening? Can we assume as such, Mfundisi?
You know, lankhule khona, you know, as I said one time, that I grew up in a evangelical, church, obviously in a Christian family, and which was taboo for my mother and my father to communicate about these things, because to them it translated they are encouraging me to go out there and do those things. So the only time that they will communicate them is when they see me, maybe bengibone be suspicious ukuthi I have an eye on some girl, then a conversation will be on the basis of, hey, noma usukholwa awuyenzi lento. It was not really a conversation where we sat down. They explained to me, because truly I believe there are many Christians, young Christians, who are really struggling with hormones. you know, as young people, and they are struggling. And we as the church, if we are with that attitude of, yeah, umzalwane awukwenzi lokho, at our time, I don't know now. Thina sikhule kuthiwa umzalwane awujoli nakujola. So you find that you had an internal war within you because there was no conversation. And I believe, Uguti, if really our parents, not only our parents, even if our leaders were audacious enough to sit down and speak about these things, I think it would have eliminated even the struggle that I had as a young man growing up. I would have known ukudila nama situations because khona ezinye izimo ekufuneka ngizenze ukuze ngidile nale simo leso ukuze ngiappearishe kubona ngithi ngingcwele bese bathi hey, this guy uphila this life kanti bona abawenzanga umsebenzi ukuthi speak these things because they were taboo.
Yes. I often say that if really we spoke about sexuality or sex as the other races do, in actual fact, I found when I did a little bit of my research in terms of why are they able to wait? Why are they so much into waiting? And I found that it's because the parents are the one making it such a big and a very important day of your life that you know that should be. But that being said, let's come back to communities. Now, in communities, you'll find that there are a sort of prohibiting factors, such as the fact that being in a form of words that come to us to say, who do you think you are, to be able to get to that point. Hey, Vetu, we all tried to be at school. Now you go and try, but you'll come back and you'll be like us. How do we deal with words like that coming from people that we actually live with on a daily basis?
Before I answer that, I just want to note something. I'm realizing that we are addressing the end product, which is the recipient of the situation. But who is addressing the cause, the foundation, which is a broken family structure?
Definitely.
The broken family structure consists of a parent. If I teach a young man here at church, I intervene. I teach a young woman at church, I intervene. And then they go back to their mom, they go back to their dad and their uncle. Who is addressing or who is teaching the foundation that makes up a child? Remember that children don't learn a little from what they hear, but they learn and adopt from what they see. So who deals with the root cause? Because it won't help. Because it won't help when we deal with the end product, and the end product will end up helping each other. And then in that helping each other, these people are still young. The maturity level has no substance, full substance yet. And then when they help each other, that is when there will be an evolving definition of things. Now they will start redefining things, and then a new culture evolves, and more brokenness happens. Who will address and deal with the source?
With the source. So I hear you that we probably are dealing with the end product and not dealing with the source. But if we now, let's say, what we have is the end product, there is no way, or we don't have an arm long enough to reach the space where they come from. So in this end product, is there space for this end product in the church? Where is this end product supposed to go? Is there space anywhere that this end product can go and find difference in terms of words, in terms of beliefs that have been set within them? Because remember, when somebody enters a space or any space that they're in, it's not just the fact that they live with people, but they grow up with beliefs, they grow up with culture, they grow up with religion, they grow up with the words or beliefs that have been instilled in them. So where do we have room for this end product that my sister is talking about?
The church needs to get on on its feet and begin to do the work. If I did tell you which church I come from, I'm not going to repeat again, but the theme or the tagline of the church I come from, it says world embracing and life changing. So whatever culture you were coming from, whatever taboo community you were coming from, it is world embracing, and when you begin to walk in it, it is life changing. Umsebenzi webandla initially was to look after the orphans, was to look after abafelokazi, was to look after the weak, the broken. So if the church gets back to that and begins on realizing its true identity, then we wouldn't have such problems within the church. Now these people who come in, who are like me, are coming in and are going to be chased out at the same time. Where are they going to find their refuge? Because the families are broken. So now the church needs now to begin to get on its feet, because so many people are coming in which are broken. We are preaching to them, but we need to embrace world embracing yet life changing. I think we need to get to that.
Yeah, Mfundisi, if we can just conclude, I'm going to come back around for concluding remarks. Mfundisi, if you can just, I want to get to a point where something that you said that initially the church was meant to go out there. Does that change with time?
No,
or it should actually remain as it was said, or as we were saying?
That's just the pillar of the church. That's just the nature of the church. The church is supposed, I said one time, the church is a kingdom within a kingdom, or a kingdom within a country. So in its nature, in its initial nature, it is going therefore.
Okay.
All right, so the church should go. But at the same time, when people come, and this is very important, we need to realize that the church is made up of broken people, including the pastor. Yeah. Yeah. So you have to understand right there, Uti, the church is not made up of perfect people.
Okay.
It is made up of broken people. Let me put it like this: wretched people. That's where the grace of God comes in. Because once we realize that we are wretched, then we will be able to be patient with each other. Because if I am at the point where I see myself perfect,
Okay.
and all fixed up, then I will have a problem with dealing with you. Yeah, because I will understand that individually in my relationship and walk with God, I am imperfect, and God is patient with me. Yeah, and I'm growing each and every day, and God is so patient and long-suffering. So when I look at you, right, in your struggle, I'll begin to say, okay, when we deal with the end product, I realize, okay, she or he might be struggling somewhere. Oh, but the grace of God, you know, as much as God is patient with me, I'll be able to, even dealing with your situation, be understanding and be patient in dealing. That's where the work of a pastor comes in, you know, that, you know, God called me in my weakness, and he trusted an unstable man for his stable project.
All right.
So I must treat that with diligence.
There's a point that you wanted to respond to, and then as you respond to it, make your round and closing remarks as well.
Okay. The point I wanted to raise is this community we're talking about, it is the same community that is in the church. The church is that community. So those people who are broken from those communities, they don't just change and transform when they come into church. The only difference with the two people, the ones inside are wearing suits and the ones outside are not wearing suits, but this is the same person. The same person, the difference is that he has a tag of I'm born again. The one outside doesn't have a tag. But the situation, the experience, the exposure is the same. A wounded soldier can a wounded soldier heal another wounded soldier? How do we approach that? How do we deal with that situation? That is why it is important for the church to understand the pillars that build up a community. Okay, the church focuses mostly on the spiritual pillar. It should not compromise it. The reason why we experience even more brokenness as people are inside church for years, it is because the church thought they can specialize in things they are not equipped to do.
Okay.
And they neglected the power of the spiritual element of dealing with underlying factors from a spiritual perspective and a mental, psychological perspective. So that is where a church needs to find diverse approaches and understand places, area, fields that they can bring in from the economic, from the health, from the every pillar that builds in order to help take the community forward, take people forward, because people are hungry for progress. People are hungry to be better. If it wasn't for that, people wouldn't jump for any opportunity. No, bakutwa faki 200, you'll get 10,000. Meaning, people are willing to invest. People are willing to be better. It's just that they don't know. No one introduces them to platforms. So the church needs to understand the diversity that helps people pull their lives together and grow.
It is clear, ladies and gentlemen, that where we are and the spaces that we have grown up in do affect our lives, and they do impact our growth and where we want to get to be as the people. As my panel here has actually concluded, and I think I had a lot of agreeing points, in a sense that one, the family has to be also be part of this transformation. Secondly, the church itself also has to be part of this transformation, in a sense that it remains in its main responsibility, which is going out there into communities. I want to leave it there for today and thank you, my panel, and say that this is not a subject for just one show, but we are going to continue in this subject once again and make sure that we are able to grill deeper, because I could sense that my panel still had a lot to say. I want to thank you for watching us from wherever you're watching us, and thank you and say subscribe to that YouTube channel, like that Instagram page and that Facebook page. We are World Gospel Impact Church. God bless.
Sizodlala basangane. I saw